Welcome to Real Estate Success Partner. We're your hosts, Devin Dubuc,
David Wynn,
and we're here to talk about how to have great success in every market. Hey, today, guys and gals, we've got somebody pretty awesome. Dave, who'd you bring along with you?
I brought on Geoffrey Adams, a Phoenix, Arizona broker owner, and all-around great realtor.
Welcome to the show, Geoffrey.
Thanks for having me.
Well, we're excited to have you here, brother. We're excited to have you here. So, we know a little bit about you and we know your backstory, but we always like to get to know you a little bit in the beginning of the podcast. So, tell us, are you from Arizona originally?
I grew up all over the United States, lived in quite a few states, but I've been in Arizona for over 20 years.
Very cool.
I absolutely love it here.
Yeah, very cool. So you bounced around a little bit. And how long? You said 20 years. What year would that have been? What are we? 2024. So 2004. You moved out there. What brought you to Arizona?
Yeah, so 2002.
Nope.
I graduated from Eastern Michigan University.
Let's go.
As with a teaching degree.
Okay.
And so,
okay.
Arizona has a lot of native land, and there are a lot of tribes and Native Americans here. And I've always been enamored with their way of life and their culture. And so I took a teaching role as a junior high school science teacher in a local Native American community here in Scottsdale. And I also had family out here. But those were the two things that drew me to Arizona.
That's cool, man. That's cool. So from teacher to realtor and science teacher at a Native American school, that's pretty cool, man. That's pretty cool. What was your favorite experiment to teach? Which was the one that really got everybody excited?
I was actually thinking about one fun thing that we did is I went out into a local waterway, and I just I went to my kitchen. I grabbed some Tupperware and I grabbed a spoon that I cooked with, and I was just digging dirt and grunge and stuff out of the bottom of this waterway right next to the Indian community there. And then I had all the microscopes ready that day, and so the kids and I got to look in there and see, all these amazing creatures that Mother Nature has, working on our behalf at the bottom of our waterways to clean things up and eat things. And so that was definitely pretty cool.
That's wild, man. That's wild. Yeah, because we don't think about that, right? We just turn on the tap and grab the glass of water, right? Maybe we have some filtration systems, but you don't think about what's actually going on out there, from the actual resource where the water is coming from. And that's where that scientist side comes in. You get to go in and say, hey, this is where all that cool stuff happens, right? This is how the world works. I love it, man. I love it. So I imagine being a scientist at heart, you're pretty curious. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I tell you, I'll be quite frank with you. Growing up and going through, school myself, obviously, I think we all went through school at one point in time, right? Science was one of my favorite classes. I absolutely loved it. You never knew. And I think the other thing, and I bet you were one of these guys, the science teacher was always the coolest one, man. They were just so much fun, so much life, brought a lot of energy to the table. I bet your students really enjoyed getting a chance to work with you.
I think they did, and it was a very special opportunity for me to influence a lot of young people. And I think both of those experiences really carried over well into my real estate career, because what I do a lot of right now is education, and I educate my clients on how to navigate an ever-changing real estate process. Right. And I educate realtors that I work with within my teams on how to be the best that they can be and deliver that client experience, and how to protect their wealth and how to be healthy in a very success-driven 24/7 industry.
It's a very demanding industry. You're always on the move. You're always on the go. There's not a lot of time away, and it's a lot of serving, right? A lot of serving consumers and helping. And, the education part, it's funny that you mentioned that, going from teacher to realtor. And my mother was an educator for I think almost 4 decades. She started off in K through 12, eventually went into learning disabilities, and then finish her career, helping children with autism. And one thing that she always told me, she's like, Devin, I love what I do, but don't do this because you won't make any money. And so, what's funny is, you talk about the education aspect. I'm still an educator too. I think, Dave, you know this. I spend a lot of my time educating our team and educating myself to make us better and to help our team become the best versions of themselves. So I did end up in education, just in a different field that allows for a little bit more lucrative income. And it sounds like you may have found that same thing, right? You love the industry. You love what you were doing, but unfortunately, we don't pay our educators what we should. And you found yourself over here in the real estate field. Is that part of what bridged you over here, or how did you make that transition? Right? What happened there?
Well, there was a small business ownership in the middle. My family and I opened a Great Harvest bread company in Tempe.
Okay.
And so we actually turned a real estate office into a bakery, which is kind of interesting.
Okay.
So I transitioned from teaching into small business owner. Again, those skills really helped me in what I do now with my clients and with the realtors that I support. And so from there, it was just an opportunity to really do something different. And I guess, unfortunately, I'll tell you what highlighted the opportunity in real estate for me is the experience that my wife and I, which was my girlfriend at the time, we were out looking at houses, and the level of customer service or lack thereof that we received from our realtor was honestly astounding to me. And it was pushy. It was, really driven by what that particular realtor thought we needed and wanted to, present to us. And throughout that experience, there was no listening, there was no processing, there was no checking for understanding, very little education of the client. I mean, even to the point, like really, I watched this whole relationship or lack thereof develop, and I'll never forget the moment we were in a house that backed up to rural. And it's one of the most busy streets in all of the Phoenix metro area. Okay, so like tons of traffic, noise, and we just walked in and we were like, no, this is not a good fit for us. Okay. And she's like, well, let's go look downstairs. Let's go here. And okay, we'll humor you. We'll look around. And it was like, one, we didn't want to see this type of property. Yeah. 2, we walked in and told you it's a no-go. And then the owners were there of the house. And so I'm like, can we go? Let's go. And we're walking out. And the owners are like, what did everybody think? And she looked him straight in the face and she said, oh, you know what? They love it. They're going to make an offer. I'll get back with you all soon.
Oh, God.
And I was just like,
do we?
What's going on? And then we went out and got in her brand new BMW and drove away. Yeah. And so there was a lot of things going on there for me. And I was like, wow, if somebody can deliver this customer service experience and be this successful in this business, I know there's a disruption or an opportunity for me to step in and deliver a different type of experience for real estate clients. And it was really in that moment. And by the way, it was when Zip Realty had just come on the scene. And I don't know, never heard of them. They were the consumer's first opportunity to have access to MLS data. So I ended up doing our own searches so that we could actually see the homes that we wanted to see. And so in that whole experience, there was just one day where my wife's like, hey, if you could do anything that you wanted to do, like for a career in your life, what would you want to do? And I was like, I think that this real estate thing is really kind of exciting. And that was it. I went and got my license a couple months later. And then I hit the ground running in 2008, about 2 months before the financial world imploded.
Oh, I remember.
Wow, what a great time to be in real estate, Jeff. Good timing.
I remember
Let's talk about this.
Like, what are you doing here?
Yeah, whoa.
Just a glutton for punishment.
Well, let's talk about that. First year in real estate, the world ends in 2008, and you think you're going to go out and conquer the world. Talk about us that first year. What was that like?
So, you know what? Conquer the world. I was not going to conquer the world. I was just going to try and figure out what the hell to do, right?
Yeah.
And so it was just looking around and asking the same question that I've had to ask in my other career roles in life is, how do I bring value?
Yeah.
And who needs the value that I'm able to provide?
That's right.
And so, whether it was selling a special kind of bread, working with charities, whether it was, students that had special needs, like it was all, what's the value here? And we were just starting a huge glut of short sales and foreclosures. And I'll never forget the moment I was in this meeting of 75 agents. So, I was brand new, right? And they had rode this wave from, 2005 into 2008, and they all were driving the fancy brand new cars. And it was just like, they were closing deals left and right. And it was easy.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget this moment. It was one of them, one of the agents was like, I am never going to show a short sale or a foreclosure. and her reasoning behind it was, if I remember correctly, it was, the power is not on, it's dirty, and there's no toilet paper. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I know what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Like, these people that are just spent the last years crushing it are refusing to take on a huge portion of what I know is inventory out there.
Yeah.
Man, opportunity.
My man. Yeah.
So what did I do? I got my first REO account a couple of months later, and I didn't look back for a decade.
Seize the day.
And so I ended up having multiple hedge funds and bank clients, and I built a very good reputation within the industry, locally as well as nationally. Before it was all over, I had clients that were actually adapting my reports to their businesses and distributing them to agents throughout the country because I was improving things. And I think the science part that, wants to build things and put systems together and make things efficient and more organized really came into play in that business. And that paid off very well as well when I was, having many, many listings at one time. And it was also, conquer the world. It was also fraught with failure. There was a lot of things that I did wrong.
Oh, for sure. It's going to happen.
Including my first team. My first team was in that mix, which was an utter disaster. It was a complete failure. But yeah, so that's...
Well, I'll tell you what I heard there. I heard that you found a niche, and a niche that a lot of people weren't willing to get out and get their hands dirty and work through. And that's a great part of what built your success. But what I got to tell you is, I don't think that's the only thing that built your success. It was your desire to serve and help people. And, you led with that and not with the money aspect of it, right? Because at the end of the day, when you're leading with your heart and doing it for the right reasons, people feel that. They feel that energy, And so you've got all these agents out there, well, at least one agent out there, that's literally, here's your house. This is what you're going to buy. And we don't care if it backs up to a busy street. This is it, right? And, unfortunately, that's the technique. And you said, man, this isn't okay. We're not serving people the way they deserve to be served. There's a book we've been reading. I think Dave's already finished it, and I'm almost through it. It's called Unreasonable Hospitality. And, it's a great book. It's talking about 11 Madison Park in New York. And it talks about how they took this restaurant from number 50 to number 1, right? And, it didn't happen overnight, and it certainly didn't happen on the first attempt, and that's what you said there. You said, hey, my first opportunity here failed, and my first opportunity trying to run a team failed, but I did this and I did it right. And, that's all that matters. You only got to get one thing right. You've only got to get one thing right. The rest will come, but it comes with failure. We're going to have failure throughout our careers, right? We're going to fall down. We got to learn from those mistakes and get back up and try it again and do it different. And eventually we create great success. And you've certainly done that. So, kudos to you, for having the imagination to say, I'm going to leave my business and I'm going to go do something completely different. And I'm going to do it because I want to help people. That's just a special kind of awesome, Jeff.
Absolutely. And I realize how that may have sounded. I was very successful. I was one top 1% agent in the country. But I like to highlight some failures too, because that's where the real crux of the lessons are. But the other thing that kind of, I think we fail to sprinkle in when we in real estate like to put somebody on a pedestal or feature them in some kind of media or something like that. It's like, oh, they're so amazing, and they've got all the tricks and all the great ideas and all the amazing systems. I worked my ass off. Okay.
Yeah,
you want an overnight success?
No, fairy dust that got sprinkled on me, and all these systems were in place, and all these relationships happened. I mean, when I say I worked 80 hours a week, some weeks, I am not exaggerating. Like, there were times where I needed help and I didn't have it. And the only thing that I could do to maintain relationships and live up to my commitments to my clients was work that many hours.
Hey guys, it's Devin
and David.
We're your real estate success partners. Hey, if you're enjoying these podcasts and want us to keep bringing back this content, we truly appreciate you following us. But if you could go below and subscribe or make some comments, we'd truly appreciate it. And we'll keep bringing back great content in 2024. What a lot of people don't realize is that when you're just kicking something off and it takes off, right? When it starts to take off, a lot of the times we still haven't made the money to keep up with where the business has gone. And what we call it, Geoffrey, is we call it sweeping the parking lot, because you gotta sweep the parking lot until you've earned the right to hire somebody else to do it for you, And what you're talking about here is I built this great machine and it took off so fast because I was doing really amazing things, but I didn't have the ability to hire people yet to be able to keep up with all the stuff that I'd built. So guess what? I just did it myself, and you're right on the money. I think anytime that somebody builds something that's really successful and it takes off like that, we're not always prepared for the success that happens. And we end up working a lot. It's just a lot of hard work and dedication and commitment to the process that gets you there. And, we talk about this all the time, but, those success stories that people go, man, look at him, he just exudes success, and he did that over. It's always a hard story behind it of, I did this and I did it over and over and over again. And I worked double the hours, whatever, but it's what we hear every single time. It's not a miracle that you made yourself successful. It was hard work, rolling up the sleeves, doing what it takes to make it happen, So
absolutely, and aligning myself with good. And I'll tell you what, funny story how my first assistant my first real estate assistant came into existence in my business. And it was me probably, after some of those really long work weeks, coming in. And I'll tell you what, when I started my real estate career, it wasn't like, yeah, you know what, I'll figure stuff out from the couch at home, right? It was, what time does the office open? Okay, 8:30? All right, I'm going to be there at 8:30. What time do I have access to the broker education? 9 o'clock. Okay, I'm going to be there at 9 o'clock. What time does the office close? Well, it closes, but you don't have to leave. Okay, all right. So that's how I started. And every day it was my career. Okay, when you think of a career, does your career happen with the TV on while you're watching TV, doing dirty dishes, and hoping your phone's going to ring?
Nope.
No. That's not a career.
No.
And if you're a realtor out there thinking you're going to be successful doing that, I want to suggest that you take a different approach. But anyway, back to my first assistant. It was the broker came to my cubicle, right? So my little cubicle that I had taken over in the office, and his name was Jeff too. He's like Jeff, come up to the front. We've hired somebody to help us a little bit in the front office. And by the way, she's also going to be your new assistant.
Oh, sweet.
So thank goodness for someone who had decades in the real estate industry
to see what
recognized I was crushing it.
Yep.
Recognized I needed some help.
That's right.
And had the wherewithal to go find a quality person to infuse into my business because he knew that we were partners. I'm at his brokerage, right? And he knew I was struggling. And he stepped in.
That's right.
And made it happen based on his experience. And I'll tell you what, it was a huge lesson for me in a lot of ways. One, aligning with good people, good, caring, knowledgeable people that are willing to step in and help out. And then also that it's okay for me to get some help. And two, that this needs to be part of my business model.
Yeah.
And when it came time to get the second person, and the third person, it was a lot easier once I had brought on that.
Well, I'm glad you said that, Jeff, because you used literally, I was about to say, it's about aligning yourself with the right team and the right people, because when you align yourself with the right people, especially earlier on in your career, they may have that foresight to say, hey, when this happens, I'm going to give you this. And let me tell you something, Dave, you work on my team, but you have your own team within our team, right? Yeah. And when it came time for you to get that next person, were you having to bang on my door to get it? Or was it just right there ready to rock and roll?
It was already there. It helps. Sometimes, we think we can do everything, and it helps to have partnerships that know what you need.
Yeah. We measure the numbers and we look at what's happening. When it's time to instill that person into the business, it's, hey, you're moving up. We want to make sure that we keep you moving forward so that we don't slow you down. Yep. We need to get you somebody that can do that heavy lifting for you. And I would imagine that moving forward since then, now that you have your own team, I assume this is the way you treat your agents as well. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Every day when I come in, I work for them. And the question that I always ask is, how can I bring them value? And I'm asking myself that from a perspective, an overview, right? I see lots of different things happening with lots of different agents, and I'm, networking within the industry nationally, and I'm staying on top of news and staying on top of technology. But I'm also asking that question of them, and so I'm bringing those two pieces together. What are we going to need tomorrow? What do they need that they don't even know that they need? And hey, what do you need? And bringing those pieces together so that we can keep them moving forward in an ever shifting market environment.
I love it, man. I love it. Well, let's flash forward to today. So we know you get in the worst possible time. You created success because you created a market within a market that a lot of people, quite frankly, failed miserably in. And now you've got your own team. How'd you do that? How'd you transition into your own team? And, what's that team look like?
I think some of the most important things that I did is I learned some lessons from my past team, right? My REO team, I had, 35, 45 signs up across the Phoenix area. And I was working really hard to sell listings. And so my phone was ringing from all these sign calls, right? And that was my first team. I'm like, oh my gosh, I went to the broker. I said, I can't take all these calls. I know I'm leaving money on the table. Well, meet Jody. Meet Dave. And so there was my first team, right? And I'm like, oh, perfect. So I'm going to set up this cool system where your phones are going to ring and you're just going to make money. And so there we go. All right, I'll see you later. Here's my business card. Make sure the office gets the name right on my checks. All right. That was my first team.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, hey, Jody. Hey, Dave. Been a couple months. I see in the system you've received between the two of you 152 phone calls. Are you closing any deals? Oh, no. These phone calls are awful. They're terrible.
So you can't just give them the keys to the kingdom and walk away. There's got to be structure and support.
Yeah. So long story short, when it came time, I know the foreclosure market had dwindled. I had pivoted into commercial a bit. And I was like, hey, do I want to go full on in commercial, or do I want to take a step back and see again where I can bring value? And I like that whole team piece. I never forgot it. And I was like, I think there's a need. I think there's a need for a different kind of team. And also what was interesting throughout that experience is I had agents that would join my team. And well, let me tell more about that story. So Jody and Dave, right? And so I call them up. I'm like, hey, what happened here? Well, the leads are bad, right? Of course. And we want more time with you.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm really busy. I don't have time to teach you how to be a realtor. And by the way, you've been a realtor way more years than I have. I'm new. And so what do you mean you need more from me?
Yeah.
And I was confused by that. And then, hey, we want meetings. I'm like, wait, I thought realtors were like wild cats. Like they didn't want to be held down or have to be, show up anywhere or have any responsibility. Right. They were just going and showing houses and cashing checks, right? And I'm like, okay, well, all right, so we need some training. They need some more information from me. We can start having some meetings and things like that. So all of this was a big lesson for me. And then I think the biggest lesson was I had a great guy come in, and the brokerage put him with me and said, hey, he's new. He's a good fit. He ex-Marine, and he's going to get after it. Hoorah, right? And I'm like, awesome. Let's plug him in and get him trained. And next thing you know, and by the way, I switched brokerages at this point. And he's like, it was a couple months. And he's like, hey, Jeff, I'm going to bow out. I'm like, okay, really? Tell me more. What's going on? You've got some good momentum going, got some good opportunities. You're doing the right things. But you still have a lot to learn. You know what? I've decided to start my own team. Oh. And I was like, okay, all right. So literally, he had an office in the brokerage the next day, and his nameplate was up there, and no experience. And I didn't even know. My team came out of necessity of too much business. Okay, too much opportunity, too many client requests for help. Right. He didn't have any of this. And it really made me look around. And then I started to realize that people I was paying more attention to it. People were coming to me from other teams because they knew I had business. And they were coming from other teams that had made promises to them, that had made commitments to them, but didn't have business for them. And so here they were stepping into real estate or joining this team and expecting to make money based on these commitments from these team leaders, which, by the way, the brokerage that I was at was all about recruiting, right? And so it was like, hey, bring us more bodies, go start a team, right? So that's why my Marine guy went to start a team, because that was culture, right? And that's how you're successful in real estate. Go start a team. Well, all of these people that were starting teams without the resources, without the leads, without the opportunity to generate income for these clients, for these agents, these agents were really struggling. They were burning through all their savings. They were having to go back to a different career. Their real estate dreams were getting squashed. And so when I stepped back and I said, where is there an opportunity in real estate right now? And specifically, I wanted to focus on residential because I had a good thing in commercial going on. I'm like, what do I want to diversify now that foreclosure is gone? And I said, yeah, I can build something special here. And I can build it in a way that is going to be very agent centric and live up to the commitments that we make. And so that was how Agent Collective was founded. And it was never the Geoff Adams team, by the way. And purposefully, because it was never about me. Yeah. It was always about the agent, and it was always about me coming in to work for them. So back to that, when I come into the office, I work for the agents, and my job is to educate them and to build a mastermind community for us all to learn from each other. and to, work to generate business opportunities for all of us, and then to listen for something very special. And what we're always listening for is, hey, wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it be great if we could deliver this value to our clients? Wouldn't it be great if we could shave an hour off this process? Wouldn't it be great if we could have this in our lives or in our careers? And so that's kind of the other component that Agent Collective is always looking for. And that's a great way to identify value that folks are looking for. So
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
So that's where we're at. I've got 8 commercial agents. I've got 8 residential agents, and really good people. Like our core values come out of a book called Super Agent. And it was written by a realtor couple here in Phoenix, those Callaways. And I had an opportunity to go to, when their book was released many years ago, an opportunity to go to a book signing and hear them talk about the philosophy behind this book. And I read the book, and it came with a workbook. But to put it in a nutshell, they dialed down what it takes to be successful in real estate to 3 principles, and it's honesty, competence, and care. And man, that resonated so powerfully with me. And from that moment on, I knew I had one of the universal formulas for success. And so since then, and then as the Agent Collective philosophy and model started to be built in my head, I'm like, we are starting right there. And then the collective part also came from Google, of all places. I didn't search it, but I read a study that Google did about highly effective teams, and they found out that an atmosphere of psychological safety is one of the key characteristics of a highly successful organization. And so there it was, like another, human universal like formula for success that I had run across, that I'm like, we're plugging that in.
You're building your vision. You're building your vision. And I think there's something really important to talk about there, Jeff, because when you're building something special, there needs to be a vision and a direction so that everybody that's involved in the process understands what the mission is, understands what's happening inside of those walls, inside of that room with all those people, and understands what's expected of them to execute at that particular firm or that particular team or collective in your situation. And I couldn't agree with you more. What we feel very what am I looking for? A lot of passion behind our core values here as well. Our core values are family, action, passion, integrity, and Kaizen, which is continuous improvement for the better, to avoid redundancies in our business and always find ways to improve our strategies. And our team knows that. Dave knows that. The other members of the team know that, because at the end of the day, if we build a community, as you said, and have a very clear vision and understanding of this is what we're doing here, it breeds greatness. And so I love that you shared that. And what a great story, man. Taking it all the way back from failure to success, and then building success for the people that are within your team. Well, I'd love to keep you here all day, and I can tell we got a lot more we need to cover, which means we're going to need a part 2 to this one. But what did we not tackle today that we should have?
It's August 2nd, 2024.
Yes, it is.
So in Arizona, yesterday was the first day of all of the new paradigm in real estate, where, we can't market commissions or compensation in the home. So there's a lot of, and I'm going to say this, a lot of exciting things going on.
Yeah.
And now, if you're not adaptable, if you are not open-minded, if you are not willing to accept change is inevitable, and it's a tough day.
It's going to be a tough market.
Guess what? We don't fall in that mindset. Okay. So that's why this is so exciting for us. And so, I mean, we've been working for months to develop systems and tools for Agent Collective to deliver efficiency and an amazing client experience, and educating agents and clients as to how this new paradigm in real estate is going to work and to thrive through it. So, man, that would be a great topic. I will tell you, it's kind of odd or interesting, or I don't know, the universe, like that I'm on your podcast today, because I was at the gym this morning and I'm on the treadmill and I'm like, man, you know, we've got one Agent Collective member who went viral like a month ago. And she just like, we had to build some systems for her because she had so many people reaching out to her. Like she's put her husband to work. He's sending out our tools. They're responding and that information is being delivered to the CRM for her. I'm like, that's so amazing. Like, other than have her teach us what to do, I need to think about how I need to get out there on social media a little bit more than I do. And so I'm starting a podcast, and it's a dual purpose. It's a podcast, YouTube. So we're gonna. I hired someone today. I got all the materials together. Like, my nickname is Action. Okay, I was on the treadmill this morning. I said I'm gonna freaking do this. Guess what? We got 2 videos ready to go, and I hired someone to use the same software that we're using right now, actually, to start delivering content.
And, my friend.
and what we're doing is, like, we mastermind 3 days a week. Yeah. So we're going to actually be recording those masterminds where we talk about how we're strategizing through this shift. Everything, you know, all our successes, our struggles, our failures, and how we overcome them on the daily or the weekly. Like, that is all going to be encapsulated in that. So if there's folks that want to, you know, get a little taste of Agent Collective and what we're doing and how we're adapting and rolling with the changes that are going on every day in our industry, Agent Collective, you're going to see us on YouTube. We're going to be on Spotify. agentcollective.com is our webpage. So if you go there today, I took it down because we're reformatting it. We're blowing it up. But it'll be up probably by the time this podcast
we launch the podcast. Well, you heard it here first. The Agent Collective, baby. I love that. Hey, and you know what? I'm super excited for you. And if we can compare or contrast or share any notes or resources, brother, just know you can lean into us. We would love to be a part of that journey. This is exciting stuff, man. See, you know, everything happens for a reason, Dave.
Oh,
you know,
there's a reason why we're sitting there talking.
Up there, you know, blessing us with the opportunity to be here with our good friend Geoffrey and learning everything that you've done, brother. Seriously, man, you're just an inspiration. I can tell you got a lot to say. I'm super excited because I can tell what's going to come out on these podcasts is just things that people really need to hear, right? Super inspiring stuff. So, brother, thank you for sharing that. Is the podcast going to be the Agent Collective? Is that what we're looking for?
Agent Collective Masterminds is what we're calling it.
Agent Collective Masterminds, baby. Let's go.
Here's why. Masterminds is plural for a really good reason, because not about me. It's about all the amazing conversations and the insight and the stories and the experiences that all the other agents that are part of our organization are talking about, are sharing, and are strategizing.
This is what people need to hear, by the way. You and I talked about this in the pre-podcast, but people need to hear what goes beyond behind the scenes for 2 reasons. Because the borrowers need to hear it because they need to know who's representing them and that they can trust you and trust who you are and what you're bringing to the table. But also for other agents that need the inspiration to know, like you said, this could be the closure of your career, or this could be the beginning of a new career. And it's all about the way that you look at it. And if you're prepared for it, and if you're not prepared for it, it sounds to me like the Agent Collective Masterminds is going to get you prepared for it. So, man, Geoffrey, seriously, brother, great to have you here today. Hey, when the people out there want to find you, how do they get in touch with you?
So agentcollective.com is a great place to reach me. You can put my phone number in the materials.
Drop it down. What is it? Let's rattle it off.
It's 602-740-8428. And I tell you what, I love teaching. I love coaching. I love working with people to help them create the solutions and the success that they're looking for in their life. So if you've got some help that you need with real estate, If you are an Arizona agent looking to align yourself with other like-minded professionals, please call me. And we have a really great opportunity to work with you. And by the way, you have a really great opportunity to work with us and bring your experience and your passion and your stories to us. And that's important.
You keep stealing my words, the passion. I feel it, brother. I absolutely feel the passion. And, again, I appreciate coming in here and blessing us, with your time, your wisdom, sharing your story. Brother, you're a true inspiration. And, again, I'm super excited for the launch of your podcast. Anything we can do there to help you out, just know that we're going to be a helping hand. So, Dave, anything you want to say to our guest before we let him go today?
No, I learned a lot on this one. This was great, Jeff. You're an inspiration. You're definitely the reason why you attract
great people,
the people that are supposed to be around you. And you definitely attracted Jeff.
Yeah. Good stuff,
awesome,
man. Good stuff.
Well, thanks for the opportunity.
Hey, no, absolutely. There'll be others. If you're, we'll collab, man. We're going to do some collaborative stuff. So, well, guys, you heard it here first. Agent Collective Masterminds. And, this is going to be one that you guys will definitely be able to tune into and get great wisdom from a great agent with a great team. And like he said, it's not about him. It's about everybody on the team and everybody they're sharing this with, so you can be a part of that journey too. So, again, the Agent Collaborative Masterminds, that'll be coming across the screen along with all of Geoffrey's contact information. It'll also be in the description, so make sure you jot that down and give him a call. And I think we're going to go ahead and call it a wrap today. So we're your Real Estate Success Partners. I'm Devin Dubuc.
I'm David Wynn.
If you want to check us out, come on over to realestatesuccesspartner.com. Again, that's realestatesuccesspartner.com. But if you like the content and want to meet Geoffrey live and in person before the podcast launch, come on over to the Dubuc team on YouTube and meet him live and in person. Also, check us out on Facebook, IG, TikTok. We're on all the above under the Dubuc team. We would love your comments. We appreciate your honest reviews. And until the next time, we'll see you then.
See you later.